The Kwazulu-Natal ANC says the South African government has failed to raise enough awareness about the COVID-19 second wave that is currently ripping through the country. To hear more on this, I'm joined by Mdumiseni Ntuli, KZN ANC Provincial Secretary. Mdumiseni, thank you so much for speaking to us. That million-dollar question is, what exactly do you mean that the South African government has failed to raise awareness?
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon, good morning to you and the viewers at home. Well, the message really that we would like to communicate as the ANC is that we think that a great deal of work needs to be done at a level of communicating messages that the government has to communicate to our people on the ground about the awareness on the COVID-19. There is quite a lot of disinformation that is circulating in the province and I think throughout the country about many things that are not accurate in relation to the state of our health facilities and their readiness to, to admit a number of our patients that require medical attention. There is an information that seeks to be suggesting that the government or the government facilities are no longer in a good condition in order to accommodate, or they do not have sufficient space to accommodate many of our people who need help in this hour of difficulty. And we are saying that the government has to do more in terms of being a bit aggressive in the communication so that our people should understand that we still have the health institutions, especially in KwaZulu-Natal, ready and prepared to ensure that our people are assisted to overcome and defeat the pandemic, which has come back in a way that is very, very aggressive and very, very difficult, with many lives that have been lost over the past few days.
I'd like to think that the ANC has internal structures which would allow you to communicate this message. Any particular reason you've chosen to speak to us first?
The ANC structures are also hard at work to ensure that we convey appropriate messages on the ground in different wards throughout KwaZulu-Natal. But also, it's important that the government, given its own muscle and capability, that it also exercise that kind of leadership, because government institutions are all over the province and all over the country. And when there is an aggressive level of communication at a level of government, it will be easy for many of our people to obtain or to acquire the messages that is required for them to do. For instance, there is a great emphasis that all of us must make that all of our people, whenever you leave your home and go to the public spaces, ensure that you wear the mask, ensure that you practice effectively social distancing, and ensure that you continuously keep your hands clean using a sanitizer or using water and soap in an event where you have access to the tap water or water in general. And we're saying that, and we must also emphasize that many of our health facilities, in fact, all of them in KwaZulu-Natal, are still having sufficient space for people to be admitted and be considered in case the situation has led to a level at which a person requires medical attention. And the emphasis we want to make is that these are supposed to be messages that are aggressively conveyed by our government on a daily basis at all material times, because the only way we're going to win the war is when all our people have the necessary and the correct information at their disposal, which will inform their actions and guide their conduct in their day-to-day life and their day-to-day activity.
Well, for government's credit, obviously the lockdown, certainly in the last few days, has been very, very effective. The curfew, certainly illustrated by the number of or the little arrests that have been made. Can you tell us what you would like government specifically to do to address these issues?
Well, you see, for instance, what we haven't seen at the level at which we think is desirable is that in all our wards, you see, all wards in South Africa have a ward council, and the ward councillor may be from the ANC or any other political party. And for instance, when we say that government has not done sufficient, we don't necessarily mean the government in a classic sense as led by the African National Congress. We mean everybody that has a responsibility to lead and govern must ensure that more effort is put in ensuring that we communicate to our people. We have been observing, for instance, that the municipalities have the capacity to disseminate information through public loud hailing. Because one of the best methods of engaging with our people nowadays is to loud hail. Because loud hailing ensures that you are in the vehicle or in the car, you move around in the ward, in different townships, informal settlements, and you are able to convey the message directly to our people in the language that they will understand. And the message also being conveyed by their own chosen public representative, who may be an MP, an MPL, or a ward councillor for that matter. And our point as the ANC is that we haven't seen that level of aggressiveness. We want to see all our councillors, all our public representatives deeply engaged on the work on the ground of communicating and disseminating the appropriate information to all our people. As I said, you can't win a war when you do not have the knowledge, you do not have the skill, you are not empowered, you don't understand the behavior of your enemy and how you must respond in order to defeat the enemy. So the information becomes a central issue, a central issue, that a central task that all of us have in terms of ensuring that our people are prepared and ready to defeat the pandemic. We will defeat the pandemic. We must applaud the government of the ANC led by President Cyril Ramaphosa and the Premier of our province, Comrade Success. Great deal of work has been done. But we want to say it's not enough. We can still do more. And we know that the state is capable to do more than what it has done. But the emphasis is not that there's been a failure, but the emphasis is that we can do more than what we've done to ensure that the message reaches our people and resonates with our people on the language that they understand and from their own trusted and elected public representative.
Now, the one message that's continually permeating is that every single one of us is responsible in reducing the spread of COVID. Now, as KZN ANC Provincial Secretary, what have you done in your capacity to assist with the dissemination of information in that regard, particularly when we take a look at the fact that KZN is amongst the has the highest incidence of COVID-19 in the country?
Well, first and foremost, let me really applaud, as I said, the work that is being done. The message that the Premier has been conveying over the past few days, very consistent, very firm, very clear, together with the MEC of Health, about the need for all of us to protect human lives, to protect ourselves in order to have others also protected. We at the party level, for instance, the ANC structures have been meeting over the past few days, including today and tomorrow, where branch secretaries and chairpersons are giving us a feedback about what is happening in each and every locality. What we are expected and what we are doing as leaders of the ANC, first and foremost, is that all our own vehicles that have the equipment and the capacity to do loud hailing are on the ground in various parts of our province. But of course, as I said, that is not enough. The ANC would not have the entire machinery in terms of the resources that is required to do that kind of communication. But our leadership is on the ground to communicate with our people through loud hailing, and including where you walk around in the taxi ranks and everywhere else, and you see people conducting themselves in a manner that does not demonstrate consciousness about the existence of this invisible enemy. We've made it our responsibility to make a stop and go and say to our people, the enemy is within and among us. And unless we are prepared and ready to fight and join the campaign that is led by our government, we're going to be defeated. So that is what we are doing on the ground. And of course, having us as well on this program today, emphasizing the need for our people to secure themselves in order to protect others and secure the nation as a whole, is part of the responsibility that we have as the elected leadership of the African National Congress. We are convinced that many of our people are conscious about the need to be safe, to protect themselves and protect others. But we still believe that a much more radical approach in communication, much more aggressive information dissemination is central. It's important for us to succeed in our endeavor to win the war against the pandemic. And as I said, we were guaranteed a victory. We're going to win. There will be few soldiers that will fall along the way, as it has been the case in 2020. And of course, we convey our sincere condolences to the families relatives of those who passed away in the past year.
Mdumiseni Ntuli, thank you so much for speaking to us and giving us an update on his thoughts around government needing to do more around the COVID-19 second wave.